How did Steppenwolf, how did that begin for you guys?
Well, I met my buddy Jeff Perry in high school. We did a play together, West Side Story, when I was 16.
Who'd you play?
I was one of the sharks. Yeah. Just his name is Peppy.
Yeah.
And he had like two words.
Yeah.
I didn't even have lines. I had words that I said. But it was great. I fell in love with it. I'd never done that before, and I fell in love with it. And then I just wanted to do plays, and I did a whole bunch of plays in high school. Got pretty good at it. Jeff was my best friend in high school. He went off to college. I actually didn't graduate with my class. Jeff was in my class. He graduated. He went off to college. I went back to high school for another semester. It was kind of a dick, but I could act. I could do the stuff on stage.
Yeah.
I just wasn't so good academically. And when I graduated in January of 1974, I loved doing plays. I didn't have any intention of going to college. High school was hard enough. And then I just wanted to do plays. So we got some kids together and we started doing plays in a church. We found this space and we started doing plays. And I told Jeff about it, who was down at college, and he met this guy, Terry Kinney, who they became really good buddies down there. And the three of us ended up doing a play together in June of 74 called Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead by Tom Stoppard. And I had gotten this little theater company going with some of the kids in high school. And we said, hey, when those two guys, Jeff and Terry, get out of college, we're going to kind of regroup again, and we're going to try and make a go of it. So that's exactly what we did. They went back to college, started meeting with people down at college. Some of them were Laurie Metcalf.
Oh, wow.
John Malkovich. Let's see, my wife, Moira, was one of the early members. And we started having these meetings, and the three of us connected with six other people. And I found a space in Highland Park, Illinois, in the basement of a Catholic school that had closed down. It was a big empty basement in there, and we could build a theater in there. Wow. So we did. We built an 88-seat theater, and when they all graduated, they finished college, they all came up to Highland Park, and we started doing plays.
This is at a time where it's not really like people aren't like starting playhouses. Like that's not like the thing that everything was going on, and things that were happening in the world is sort of opposite of what you guys were doing. But yet you formed this like thoroughbred, the stable of some of the best actors ever to do it. I mean, when you met Malkovich for the first time, what was the first play? Was it Mice of Men the first play you guys did together?
No. First time I met John was when he was still at college with Jeff and Terry. And, we started having meetings down at Illinois State University. That's where they were all going, in Bloomington Normal, Illinois. And we started having meetings with people that Jeff and Terry knew down there and thought potentially they could be members of this theater company that we were getting to going. Yeah. So they started having meetings, and I would drive down from Highland Park. It'd take a couple hours to get down there, and we would have these meetings. And John was at these meetings, and that's where I met him first. And then they were doing plays in college, so I would go down there, and we were the three founders, so we were going to select the people that were going to be in the company, and so we had to kind of see what they were doing. Jeff and Terry knew what everybody was doing down there, but I didn't. So they brought me to see something that Malkovich was doing, and some of the other people that were considering for the to be in the company. And I would go and see them in plays at college and everything. And then we narrowed it down to just the three of us and six other people.
And would you guys just get together and put stuff up on its feet and just like, let's try this?
Well, once they all moved up from Illinois State, they moved up to Highland Park, 25 miles north of Chicago, our little suburb. Yeah. And I had found this space. So we built it, they came up in the summer of 76, and we went to work building this theater inside this basement. I remember there was a place called McCormick Place. It was a big convention center in Chicago. There had been a big fire there. and somebody knew somebody at McCormick Place, and they had all these seats that they saved from the fire, but they weren't using these like theater seats.
Whoa.
So they gave us 88 of them, 88 seats. They gave us these seats, and we built 3 risers. It was like a little 3-quarter theater, right? You got an audience here, you got an audience here, and an audience here. We put 3 rows, and we had 88 seats in there. Very intimate space, and we built that. We were still painting the walls on the day that we did our first performance in there. But summer of 76, we started with 4 one-act plays. There were 4 directors, and they were all in the company. Everybody was in the company. Everybody was an actor, but we needed directors, so actors started directing each other. And Malkovich was there, and then there were, 8 of us just going at it every night.
And this is where you met your wife?
I met her through Jeff and Terry, yeah.
And then she was part of the Playhouse and all of the...
She was part of the original company, the original 9 people. There was the 1974 version, which is, I had just graduated high school, and that's when Steppenwolf got started.
Yeah.
And Jeff and Terry were down at college, and they came up and did that one play I mentioned, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Then they went back to college, and then we regrouped, and the original 9 people came up, and we started working in the basement, and we started picking our own plays. We would decide who's going to be in it. You direct this one, I'll be in that one. I'll direct this one, you be in that one. And we would just pick our plays. And then we would have to go out and advertise somehow to get an audience to come into this basement.
How did you do that then?
We would go hand out flyers on the street corners, and I remember there was the Bank of Highland Park, and they had a sign up there, and you could actually get them to put different things up on the sign that were advertising what was going on in town, and they would put us up there. We marched in the 4th of July parade, with a big sign that said Steppenwolf on it, and people were like, what's that? And then we started asking the local newspapers to come to the shows and review us and write about us. And it started to catch on. Eventually, critics in the city of Chicago started to hear about what we were doing. There's these kids up there, 20 years old, and they're doing plays in a basement in Highland Park, and it sounds like it's pretty cool. So the critics started coming out from Chicago to Highland Park to review us.
And did you know they were in the audience that night?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We would know they're there. Sure.
Yeah. Was that extra? Because that back in the day too, like if something's written in the paper, that was a big deal.
Well, when the Chicago papers started to write about this little theater in Highland Park, started by these 20-year-olds, and writing really good reviews about us, then our audiences started to grow. Now every show wasn't great, and some of them were less well attended than others. Yeah. And we would only charge like $3, $3, $3.50 on Saturday. It was, we weren't really trying to make a whole bunch of money. We were just trying to keep our theater alive, and everybody had day jobs. So everybody went to work during the day and did their job.
What was your day job?
I had, for a while, I was working at a place called Ravinia Festival, which is it's like an outdoor festival. It's got an amphitheater. It's got about 4,000 seats, and it's about 20 acres of grass and trees. And I was on the grounds crew. I'd rake the leaves and cut the grass and stuff like that. And then I had a job at Neiman Marcus on the loading dock, and I would unload trucks. The trucks would come in. Wow. I'd unpack the boxes, hang the dresses up, whatever the merchandise that was coming in. I had that job for a while. Everybody else had day jobs too. We were all working in the day, and then we would go to the theater at night and do our rehearsals. We would do our, build our sets, whatever we were doing. It was all done for no money.